Hello everyone, welcome to Control Systems Lectures. In today's lecture, I am going to discuss various examples and various problems related to time response analysis of different control systems. So we have the first question over here, as you can see it on the screen. A second order system has got the value of zeta as equal to zero point 0.6 and omega n as equal to 5 radian per second. And we have to obtain, it says obtain TR, that is rise time, TP peak time, TS settling time, and MP, that is the maximum overshoot, when the system is subjected to unit step input. Okay, so we know that the system is of the second order, and here we can see that the value of zeta is 0.6. So zeta is lying actually between 0 and 1, hence this is going to be my underdamped system. This is going to be an underdamped system. Also, we are given the value of omega n, and we have to find out these values. Okay, so first of all, what I'll do, I'll write out the formulas that we know for second order system. What are the formulas, and then we are going to see how to substitute these values. So the formula for TR, in the previous lecture we had seen, TR can be written as pi minus phi divided by omega d. Of course, it's n pi minus phi by omega d, but the value of n, it's kept as 1 because rise time in general, it's only considered to be the first time that, like if you have the output as this for underdamped system, this is how you get the output. Then rise time will be defined as the time taken from the initial, that is starting stage, till the curve when it hits the first time its final steady state value. So this time period, this will be known as the rise time. So for the first instant only we consider this, not for other instants, because in this instant, this instant, this instant also we can see that the output is becoming equal to the final steady state position. And we can see in the question that it's asked, the system is subjected to unit step input. If the system is subjected to unit step input, the final steady state value is going to be equal to 1. Okay, so this is going to be the rise time. The formula for rise time is pi minus phi by omega d, where the value of phi is tan inverse of under root of 1 minus zeta square divided by zeta. So we require zeta in this equation. Okay, the value of zeta is already given in the question. It's 0.6. So if I substitute value of zeta as 0.6, you can do it and you can find out the value is going to come as 0.93. Now whether this is coming in radian or degrees, because many students make this uh, uh, they make this mistake, they take this in degrees, but this value that you are getting, that is in radian only. So this is in radian, and then we got phi, the value of phi. In the denominator we have got omega d. Now we know that omega d is equal to omega n under root of 1 minus z square. And in the question we have already been given the value of omega and we have been given the value of zeta. So you can substitute omega n value is 5 under root 1 minus zeta square. Zeta is 0.6. So this square. And if I solve this, then I'll get the value of omega d as equal to 4. So the value of omega d will come out to be 4. Now when this value is known, this value is known, then I can easily find out the value of TR. So TR is going to be pi minus phi, that is 0.93, divided by omega d, which is equal to 4. You can substitute you can solve this, and the final answer for this is going to be 0.55 seconds. This is the final answer. That means the time taken for the output to reach 100% of the final steady state value for the first time, this time period, this we are defining that this is going to be 0.55 second. This time period is 0.55 second, right? The next thing that we have to find out is peak time. This is TP. TP means peak time. So in the previous lecture we have also seen that what is the value of TP. So the formula for TP, peak time, it can be, it's also again defined for the first instant only. If nothing is mentioned, then the peak time will be considered for the first overshoot only. So it's the time taken for the output to reach the first overshoot. When the graph is hitting the first overshoot, then what is the time taken for this one, this time? Okay, this TP. And I can see from here that always my TP is going to be greater than TR. Means first time when the graph hits overshoot, it's always going to be greater than TR. So somehow if you get by mistake, if you check that the value of TP is coming out to be less than TR, then you can always understand that you have done some mistake in the question. Now the formula for TP is it's simple, pi by omega d. It's given as pi by omega d. The value of omega d we already know, so it will be equal to pi by 4, and that if you check it out, it's going to be 0.785 seconds. It's going to come out as 0.785 seconds. It will be nice if you do these numericals side by side as I'm explaining, and just keep a calculator along with you, and then you can do it by yourself. Then you will also gain some confidence. These are basically level 1 questions only, very basic questions that I've kept in this lecture. So I don't think there will be much problem in understanding of these questions. Now, the third thing that we have to find out, we are done with TR, we are done with TP. Third thing is TS, and the fourth thing is this maximum overshoot. So TS, again, TS is known as the settling time. And settling time, we had defined it as it's defined for certain tolerance range. Settling time, it means that the when the transients die out and the output, it comes under certain tolerance range, like it has only suppose 2% or 5% of error with respect to the final steady state output, then that time taken for the system to reach that much, to have that output, that is going to be the settling time, that is going to be defined as the settling time for the system. And if nothing is mentioned, then you can always go for any criteria. The most common criteria that we take is that we take the output tolerance value to be the error to be considered only plus minus 2% of the final steady state value. So for final steady state value under tolerance of 2%, in that case we define the settling time as 4 times of the time constant. It comes out approximately equal to 4 times the time constant of the system. And the time constant for the system, it is equal to 1 by zeta omega n. Hence I can write this as 4 divided by zeta omega n. Now the values of zeta and omega n, they are already given. The value of zeta is 0.6. The value of omega n, it's given as 5. Hence this will become 3. So it will become 4 divided by 3. Hence it will come out to be 1.33 seconds. The settling time for the system will come out to be equal to 1.33 seconds. So this we can say this time period. Okay, this is my settling time. This time period is the time when we can say that the transients have almost died out and the steady state have been reached. It has been reached. The final steady state for the system has been reached, and this time period is coming out to be equal to 1.33 seconds. Then the last thing, that's mentioned in the question, we have to find out the maximum overshoot for the system. And the maximum overshoot, as you can see that the question, it has been mentioned that system is subjected to unit step input. Had the had it been the case when the system was subjected to any other input, or the value of input had been other than 1, then we could not use the normal equation that we had defined. Uh, the generalized equation for unit step input, it is given as e to the power minus pi zeta upon under root of 1 minus z square, and if you want to express it in terms of percentage, then just multiply it by 100. This will be percentage. So this formula is, again I'm telling you, this is valid only when the input that you are applying, this should be unit step input only. Only then you should apply it. Else you can else you can have the mistake. Okay. So here, maximum overshoot, it will be e to the power zeta, you already know it's given, so it will be pi into 0.6 divided by under root of 1 minus 0.6 the whole square multiplied by 100%. And this, if you find it out, it's going to, this value is going to come out to be 0.095 into 100. Okay, or this is 9.5%. This is going to be 9.5%. Now this maximum overshoot, that what we are trying, what we have got over here, that is calculated from the final steady state value. Final steady state value is 1. So the value that we are getting over here, it states that this value is actually equal to 0.095. So we can say that the maximum overshoot that we are defining, this range, the magnitude of this value is 0.095. Hence the overall maximum overshoot, like overall what is the value of CT, that is going to be 1.095. This value of CT, that is going to be 1.095. Okay, this is the overshoot that is coming in the curve of the output curve. Okay, so this is one of the basic questions that we have covered. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is here. A second order system is defined by the following differential equation. Now in this question they have given a differential equation. It's in this equation is given as 4d square ct by dt square plus 8d ct by dt plus 16 ct, and that is equal to 16 ut. Now this 16 ut means this is actually, this is representing the input that we have applied, and ct is the output equation that we are getting. Then if this is the differential equation, then you have to find out the value of zeta and omega. These kinds of equations you must have also encountered in mathematical class. Okay, in maths, I don't remember whether it's in M2 or M3, but there also you have got these differential equations, and the method for solving these differential equations is that you find out the CF, you find out the PI for the system, and then the complete solution of the system is given by CF plus PI. That's what you do in the maths class also. So you can go by that approach also, but as we are dealing with control systems, here generally we take Laplace only. So here we have to find out the value of zeta and omega n. So first of all, you should understand that CT, this side of the equation, this is representing output side and this is representing input. And in order to find out the zeta and omega n, it's essential that you should know what is the transfer function. what is the transfer function of the system, and it has been given that it's a second order system. So if you find out what is the transfer function, then you can easily relate, and then you can easily find out what is going to be zeta and omega n. Now classically the transfer function, it is defined as the Laplace transform of the output divided by Laplace transform of the input of the system. So this is how we define the transfer function. Here we know the input, here we know the output. These are in time domain. So what we have to do, we just have to take the Laplace transform of these two. Just take the Laplace transform, find out their ratio, that will give you the transfer function for the system. So first we'll do that. The Laplace transform of the output, Laplace transform of the output, okay, of this 4 d square, this is 4 d square ct by dt square plus 8 d ct by dt plus 16 ct. Also you should remember that transfer function is valid only for when the system has no zero initial conditions. There should be no initial conditions, only then you can find out the transfer function for any system. So if you take the Laplace transform for this equation, this is the Laplace transform of the output. So this will become 4 d square dt by d square ct by dt square. It will become s square cs, no initial conditions, okay, or I'll write it below this only. This will become 4 s square cs plus 8 times s cs plus 16 times of cs. Okay, this is the Laplace of the left hand side of the function that you have. Similarly, you have to find out the Laplace of the input as well. So Laplace of the input is given as 16 times of ut. So ut's Laplace transform is 1 by s. It will become 16 divided by s us. Okay. Now from here you can find out what is the transfer function. Transfer function is Laplace of output divided by Laplace of input. So if you take the Laplace of output by Laplace of input, Cs by Us, then you can just take Cs terms common. Okay, you can just take Cs terms common. It will become 4s square plus 8s plus 16. This is equal to 16 by s us. You need to find out Cs, the ratio of Cs and Us. So the ratio of Cs and divided by Us, this is the Laplace of output divided by Laplace of input. This is going to be equal to 16 divided by s. Okay, 16 by s already over here. You can take this over here in the denominator. So it will become 4s square plus 8s plus 16. So this is the form, this is the transfer function that you are getting for the second order system. Is the system second order system? How is the order of the system defined? Order of any system is defined as the highest power of s in the denominator. Okay, and you can say that in the denominator we are having the power of s as s cube. Okay, but that's not what is what we call for it. Actually this s is coming from the input. So inputs pole, it's not counted. So in case of second order systems also, when we took the step input for the while solving for the second order system, there also what we were doing, we are having the generalized equation, that is omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square, and that we multiplied with 1 by s. Okay, so the inputs pole is not counted. This is the transfer function and this is the transfer function's pole. This equation, that this will be representing the poles of the transfer function. Okay, So this is definitely a second order system. Now, one essential point that you should always remember, we have got the equation of transfer function over here, and now what we can do, we can have the generalized transfer function of the second order system. We already know that it's defined as omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. Okay. Now you can observe over here that the coefficient of s square, it's always kept as 1. Okay, the coefficient of s square should always be kept as 1. Only then we can compare this generalized equation with any other specific equation. So if I want to compare this equation with the transfer function form that we are getting, in that case we will have to keep the coefficient of s square over here also as equal to 1. So simple, what we can do, we can take 4 common from the denominator, so we'll be left with we already have this s from the uh, input score. We take s as common, hence inside the bracket it's going to be s square plus, if you take 4 common, then this is going to become 2s plus this is going to become 4, and this also it will get cancelled, so this will become 4 divided by s square plus 2s plus 4. Now you can see that the standard second order system is given as omega n square here, this is 4 over here, divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega ns, so we have got 2s over here, plus omega n square, here we are getting 4. Just compare these two equations, these two equations. Compare the equation of the transfer function that you are getting with the standard second order systems equation. Then you can easily compare, when you compare it, you can easily find out that omega n square can be related with this 4. So omega n square is going to be 4. Hence we can say the value of omega n is going to be under root of 4, or that's going to be 2 radian per second. This is going to come in radian per second, it's going to be 2 radian per second. Similarly, this 2 zeta omega n can be compared with this 2. So 2 zeta omega n is equal to 2. We know the value of omega n is equal to 2. So it's going to become 2 into zeta into 2, that's equal to 2. Hence we can find out the value of zeta is 1 divided by 2, or its value is equal to 0.5, and this value is actually constant value. So the value of damping factor for this system is going to be 0.5. So what was asked in the question? We can quickly see. This is what was asked in the question. We were required to find out the value of zeta, and we were required to find out the value of omega, and we have found out both. Okay, so this is how you can compare any transfer function, any second order transfer function, with the standard second order transfer function, and you can always find out the value of zeta and omega. Moving on, let's look into the next example. The next example states that the open loop transfer function of a unity feedback system. Okay, now two terms over here. Open loop transfer function of a unity feedback system is given by k divided by s into s plus 1. If the value of gain k is such that the system is critically damped, so this is another information given that system is critically damped. For critically damped system, value of zeta is equal to 1. So this information has been given to us. Then determine the location of the poles of the system. Now you have to find out the location of poles of the system for a critically damped second order system. Now here you can see this term, first term that I underlined, it's open loop transfer function. It's also written as OLTF, open loop transfer function. Just remember that this open loop transfer function, this is not equal to open loop systems. This is not equal to open loop systems. Open loop systems means that a system is there with some amount of gain it can have. Okay, open loop systems. And in open loop systems there is no feedback path. ये path exist नहीं करता है for open loop systems. But for closed loop systems they have feedback path. But don't get confused with these two terms, that open loop transfer function and open loop system. Open loop transfer function means that you have got a feedback system, you have got a closed loop system. जैसे हमारे पास हो सकता है एक closed loop system हो with the gain G and the feedback path gain as H. This is the system, this is the closed loop system. But when we talk about the open loop transfer function, what we do, we open this loop up, we open this loop up. ठीक है, इस loop को आप open कर देते हैं and then you find the transfer function. So that transfer function will be equal to, अगर आपने इसको open कर दिया तो ये दोनों कैस्केड में आ जाएंगे और ओपन लूप ट्रांसफर फंक्शन आप बोल देंगे कि इट्स इक्वल टू GH. So this is the open loop transfer function. This again we'll be dealing with it a lot in the uh, further classes. So I'll tell you in detail about that. But don't get confused with this open loop transfer function and this open loop systems. They are entirely different things. Okay. Now the open loop transfer function of a unity feedback system. So they have given that the system's feedback is unity. तो यहाँ पे जो h की वैल्यू हमने लिया, ये h की वैल्यू unity है. Okay. तो उन्होंने क्या दिया है? In the question they have given, open loop transfer function is given as k divided by s into s plus 1. ठीक है. तो मतलब ये indirectly हमको g की वैल्यू दे रहे हैं. The value of g in the system it's given as k divided by s into s plus 1. That is given, and the value of h is also given, that is unity feedback system. So h's value is equal to 1. So then they are asking that if this system is given and this system is second order system with critically damped, then you have to determine the location of poles of the system. So now it can become clear. We just have to find out the equation of the transfer function. If you find out the equation of transfer function, then the poles of the system can be found out from the denominator by taking the roots of the denominator of the transfer function. So you know the value of G, you know the value of H, it's a feedback system. Okay, so you can easily find out transfer function for the system. It will be G upon 1 plus G into H. The value of G is K divided by S into S plus 1 divided by 1 plus, again the value of G is this, multiplied by H, that is equal to 1. And hence we can write this as K divided by S square plus S plus K. This is the transfer function of the system. And we have been given that the value of zeta for the system is equal to 1. Then again we can compare this equation with the standard second order system, that is omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. So if we compare these two, we can see that the value of k is equal to omega n square, okay, or omega n is actually equal to under root of root k. This is actually equal to root k omega n radian per second, of course. And then this 2 zeta omega n, यहाँ पे इसका कोएफिशिएंट s का कोएफिशिएंट is 2 zeta omega n, that is equal to 1 over here. यहाँ पे s का कोएफिशिएंट है 1, so this is equal to 1. The value of zeta is already given as 1, so omega n is going to be what? It's going to be 1 divided by 2. This is going to be 1 divided by 2, or the value of omega n is going to be equal to 0.5 radian per second. This is going to be 0.5 radian per second. Now as soon as you find out कि omega n का value क्या है, तो यहाँ पे आप आराम से अब equation बना सकते हैं. ठीक है, ओमेगा एन का वैल्यू है 0.5 रेडियन पर सेकेंड. Then you can write final transfer function. It's equal to k. तो अगर omega n's value is equal to 0.5, then the value of k is going to be 0.5 का square. So that will be equal to 0.25. So my transfer function can be written now as 0.25 divided by s square plus, this is s, plus 0.25. This is how my transfer function for the system it can be written. And now you can find out the roots. You can otherwise also find it out that you know that for a critically damped system, जब आपका system critically damped होता है, if you remember it, then in the S plane you can you had seen कि जो poles होते हैं, you get double poles for the critically damped system, and they actually lie at minus omega n. तो दो रूट्स जो आपके आते हैं पोल के, वो दोनों माइनस ओमेगा एन में लाई करते हैं. So both the roots that I'll be getting for the system, they'll lie at minus omega n. Omega n's value is 0.5. Hence the roots of the system will be lying at minus 0.5 and minus 0.5. These are going to be the two poles, where the two poles location of the poles of the system. And this question actually it came in IES 2001. So I've taken this question from there. It's pretty simple question. You only have to apply the logics, apply a knowledge that you already know, then you can easily find it out. So moving on, next question. Let's look into the next question. An LTI system initially at rest when subjected to unit step input gave the response as Ct equal to t to the power minus t. So they have given that we have got an LTI system, no initial condition, subjected to unit step input. So the input that they have given, it's unit step ut, okay? Input is ut, or in Laplace, if you take the Laplace, it's going to be 1 by s. Now this is giving the response as Ct equal to t to the power minus et. So you have got some system, कोई एक system है जिसमें हम इनपुट दे रहे हैं और आउटपुट जो आ रहा है दैट इज कमिंग आउट एज t to the power minus t. When you are applying input as ut, then the output that you are getting is t to the power minus t. Then you have to find out the transfer function of the system. This one is a pretty simple question. Okay, you know that transfer function, it's defined as the Laplace of the output divided by Laplace of the input. Okay, so output is given to you, input is given to you, you can easily solve it. Just take the Laplace of t e to the power minus t. If you take the Laplace of this, t का होता है 1 by s, क्योंकि वहाँ पे e to the power minus t है, तो it will become 1 divided by s plus 1 का whole square. Sorry, t का होता है 1 by s square. You have e to the power minus t, hence this will become plus 1 का square. So the Laplace of output will be 1 divided by s plus 1 the square, and the Laplace of input ut, this is going to be 1 divided by s. So this ratio will finally come out to be equal to s divided by s plus 1 the whole square. And this again was a question asked in IES. In the objective questions it was asked. Okay, next question. Let's look into the next question. We have been given a transfer function. The transfer function is 121 divided by s square plus 13.2s plus 121. We have to determine the nature of damping of the system. Okay, nature of damping means whether the system is critically damped, over damped, undamped, okay, or under damped. And you also have to determine the settling time of the system. So this is a straight question. Transfer function is already given to us. If you want to find out the damping of the system, if this is the question, damping means you want to find out की value of zeta क्या है. अगर zeta की value पता चल गई, then you can easily find out if zeta's value is 0, then system is undamped. If it is between 0 and 1, then it's going to be underdamped. If it's equal to 1, critically damped, greater than 1, or then overdamped. So this transfer function is given. You can again just compare it with the standard second order system. So the standard second order system, it's given like this. So you can compare omega n square is actually equal to 121. Hence omega n is going to be under root of 121. That's going to be equal to 11. And we can compare these two values, that the coefficient of S is 13.2. This should be compared with the coefficient of S in the standard second order system. It's 2 zeta omega n. So omega n you already know, its value is equal to 11. Hence you can find out zeta. Zeta's value will be 13.2 divided by 2 into 11. Okay. Zeta's value is going to be 13.2 by 11, and this is going to come out as equal to 0.6. If you solve this, then this is going to come out as 0.6. So the value of zeta is going to come out as 0.6. Okay, zeta की value आएगी 0.6, and if this is coming out as 0.6, that means the system is definitely underdamped. The system is definitely underdamped in nature. Another part of the question is that we have to find out the settling time of the system. Settling time of the system, if nothing is mentioned, then just go for the 2% criteria. That means settling time will be defined as 4 divided by zeta omega n. You know the value of zeta, it's 0.6. You know the value of omega n, it's 11. So the settling time of the system will come out to be 0.606 seconds. This is going to be the settling time for this system. Okay, so this was a pretty simple question again. Next question. The unit impulse response of a second order system is given. Unit impulse response. Now this you should know that input that you are applying, it's not unit step, but the input that you are applying is unit impulse. So the unit impulse response of the second order system, it's given as 1 divided by 6 e to the power minus 0.8 t sine 0.6 t. So this is the value of Ct that they have given. Okay, response means that what is the output for the system that they have given. Then you have to find, if this is the case, then you have to determine again the value of zeta and omega. And in order to find out these values, that means that you want to you need to find out the transfer function of the system. Now you can do one thing, it can be taken as a homework. We have discussed in detail about the response of the system when unit step input is applied. So what you can do, you can just take unit impulse as the input, and again you can find out the response of the system, generalized equations for the system, and if you get it, then you can have a better insight. Then again come back to this question, and then you can solve the question by comparing the standard output that you are getting and the output that is given over here. That is one way of doing it, but as I have not discussed anything, as I have not discussed in detail about what is going to be the generalized output for the system, a second order system, when you apply unit impulse response, then we'll go with the traditional method. So if you can see that Ct is given over here. Ct's value is 1 by 6 e to the power minus 0.8 t sine of 0.60. This is given, and similarly RT is given as equal to del t. If you want to find the transfer function, it's simple. Just find out the Laplace of output divided by Laplace of the input. Output is given, input is given. You just have to take the Laplace transform of these. So if you take the Laplace transform of the output, you have to take the Laplace transform of the output. Sine का Laplace transform A लाइक इफ इट्स साइन 80, इसका लाप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होता है, a डिवाइडेड बाय s स्क्वायर प्लस a स्क्वायर. But if you have got e to the power something multiplied by with it, then it will be reduced as s plus, if suppose we call this as e to the power minus bt, then we'll write it as s plus b the whole square plus a square. So just applying this over here, cs will become equal to a means 0.6 divided by s plus b is 0.8 the whole square plus 0.6 the whole square multiplied by 1 by 6. 1 by 6 is some constant that is given in the question. So this is the value of Cs. Laplace transform of del t is 1. If you take the Laplace transform of del t, that's going to be 1. So another very important point that we um, need to discuss is that whenever in any question, if they give us that the response of certain system is given like this and this, then what's going to be the transfer function, uh, when unit impulse input is applied to it, then always remember, अगर आप कभी भी input impulse input लगाते हैं, तो transfer function क्या होगा, transfer function will be the Laplace transform of the output itself, क्योंकि इनपुट का वैल्यू हो जाएगा 1, so something ratio 1, it's going to be same thing. So in one of the lecture, in one of the initial lecture also I had told something about this, that अगर आपको सिस्टम में सिर्फ इतना नॉलेज दे दिया है कि आउटपुट इतना आ रहा है, then just by merely taking out the Laplace of the output, whatever you are getting, that is equal to the transfer function of the system. So experimentally also, जब आप practical cases में रहते हैं, in practical situations also, if you want to find out the transfer function for any system, okay, you don't know कि system का transfer function क्या है, तो हम क्या करते हैं, हम system में input देते हैं. आपको मालूम नहीं है कि सिस्टम में क्या क्या कंपोनेंट्स है, कैसा है, हम क्या करते हैं, हम सिस्टम में इनपुट देते हैं, इम्पल्स इनपुट, एंड हम उसका आउटपुट ऑब्जर्व करते हैं. एंड वी नो दैट फॉर इम्पल्स इनपुट जो भी आपका आउटपुट आ रहा है वही, दैट इटसेल्फ इज द ट्रांसफर फंक्शन. सो दैट्स हाउ वी फाइंड आउट द ट्रांसफर फंक्शन फॉर दो सिस्टम्स जिसका हमको ट्रांसफर फंक्शन पहले से नहीं मालूम होता है. Okay, so here the transfer function for the system, it will be given as 1 divided by 6 multiplied by 0.6 divided by s plus 0.8 the whole square plus 0.6 the whole square. This is the transfer function for the system. Okay, if you have the transfer function, then same thing you have to do. यहाँ पे भी वही सेम चीज़ करनी है. यहाँ पे ये हो जाएगा आपका 1, just open the brackets. If you open the brackets, this will become s square plus 0.8 square 0.64 हो जाएगा, 0.6 का स्क्वायर हो जाएगा 0.36. You add those, then that will become plus 1, and here the second term will be 2 into 0.8 into 6, so that's going to be 1.6s. So numerator if I take it as 1, तो यहाँ पे आ जाएगा आपका 1 divided by 10. This is going to be transfer function of the system, and just see that the coefficient of s is 1 only, hence we can directly compare this with the second order system. So you can find out that omega n की value कितनी हो जाएगी 1, क्योंकि omega n square की value 1 है, ठीक है. And if you know this, then 2 into zeta into omega n, that is equal to 1. This can be compared with this value, so that is 0.6. So the value of zeta will come out to be 0.6 divided by 2, 0.6 divided by 2, or this value of zeta will come out to be equal to 0.8. Okay, so in the question what was asked, in the question it was asked for us to find out the value of zeta and omega n. Omega n की value आई 1, zeta की value आई है 0.6. And the next question, Next question states that for a system shown in the given figure, so one figure is given over here. Okay, for the system, what should be the value of A? यहाँ पे system में देखते हैं forward gain path, it's 16 divided by S into S plus 0.8, and the feedback path is having the gain of 1 plus AS. So what should be the value of this A? इसकी value क्या होनी चाहिए such that the value of zeta is equal to 0.5. So they have given us the value of zeta. Zeta should be equal to 0.5. For that value of zeta, what should be the value of A? So first thing, find out the transfer function of the system. पहला step, system का transfer function find out करो. So for the system, the transfer function will be g upon, transfer function is going to be g upon 1 plus g into h. G is given as 16 divided by s plus 0.8 divided by 1 plus again g, okay, into h, it's 1 plus as. So this is the transfer function. Rearranging all the terms, it will become 16 divided by s square plus 0.8s plus 16 plus 16as. I'll arrange it in such a way that all the coefficients, we have term s square का एक ही term है s square, s के दो terms दिख रहे हैं, तो we can take it's like 0.8 plus 16a, you can take s as common, plus 16. This is my final transfer function. ये हमारा final transfer function का form आ गया. Now in the question they have given that the value of zeta should be equal to 0.5. zeta की वैल्यू होनी चाहिए 0.5. ओमेगा n की वैल्यू यहाँ से डायरेक्टली निकाल सकते हैं. ओमेगा n square is equal to 16. Hence we can say omega n is equal to 4. So we know the value of omega, we know the value of zeta. Here you can see that this actually should be related with 2 zeta omega n. 2 zeta omega n, it should be equal to 0.8 plus 16 into 8. You know the values of zeta and omega n. इसकी value है 0.5, इसकी value है 4. So hence you can find out what is going to be the value of A. Okay, you can find out the value of A is going to come out as equal to 0.2. So this is the value of A. So here actually things were not given directly, indirectly things were given, and hence you had to find out the value of A. Okay, so with this I wind up this lecture. These were the questions, basic questions for second order system time response. I'll be sharing a tutorial. I'll be sharing various tutorials also with you, various questions related to this. So if you have any doubts in those questions, or even if you have any doubts in these questions, then please do ask me. Okay, thank you for listening.